Hey and welcome to our tutorial. Today we'll try to create this 3D cubes-like background effect inside Microsoft Word using Visual Basic for applications that is using macro. And I will probably split this tutorial into two different parts. In the first part we will look how to draw the hexagon made from three different pieces. So if I start with a blank document, I can quickly insert a new hexagon like this. I have to move this a little bit to the right. Then I will rotate it by 90 degrees. And what I can do is I can insert a new shape being the diamond. And if I draw a diamond like this, I can copy paste it, rotate it by 120 degrees like this, move it on the left side. You can see how the size is not perfect. I have to resize it a little bit more. Then I can paste it one more time, rotate by 240 degrees, and I have something which kind of resembles an hexagon. So that's one way how to draw a hexagon, using three shapes being the diamond shape. The problem with using the solution inside the macro is that we have to draw all three shapes unrotated. So I have to draw it like this, and then I have to rotate it, which will be rotated from the middle. So I would have to guess the positions of those, or not guess, but actually calculate the positions of those individual pieces. That is the left top corner, which in this case is outside of the hexagon, which probably will take me a few minutes to calculate. So what I can do instead is I can not draw the diamond shape, but actually draw a custom polygon or polyline shape. So if I delete those, I can reuse the positions of those individual vertices of this hexagon, and we can quickly remind us what those positions are. So let's see if I can somehow draw it. I will jump to drawing. So let's say that this is the width of the hexagon. So this is the W as the width of the hexagon. And this is the height of the hexagon. It's a little bit different than usual because usually in the previous tutorials we were drawing the hexagon rotated by 90 degrees. So the width and height was actually the opposite. So this is the height. We can also say that this is the L, like length of the side. And we also know that this is the half of the L. And down here, this is also the half of the L. We know the height is 2 times the L. So we can say that this point up here is half the L, or we can also say it's 1/4 of the h of the height. This would be of course half of the height, and this is 3/4 of the height. So 3/4 of the height down here. This obviously is the height itself. For the x position, it's even more simple. This is the left position of the hexagon. This is the middle, so half of the width, so half of the width of the hexagon, and obviously this is the width of the hexagon. So we know the positions of each vertex of the hexagon. The only missing piece is the middle point, for which the x position is half of the width, and for the y position is half of the height. So this is the half, this down here, this is the half of the height. So let's start by drawing or by specifying the points of, for example, the first shape. So for the first shape, we can start, for example, with this point. So this will be point number 1. Here will be point number 2. The middle one will be point number 3. And this one will be point number 4. We need to have this shape connected. So point 1 will also be point 5. So if I draw a shape like this, you see that we will get this first diamond shape. What we haven't set is the connection or the relationship between the width and the height. And we've seen this in the previous tutorials, that there is a certain connection. We can calculate it using simple functions, or we can just, for example, look for some online hexagon calculator like this. And here previously we were specifying the width, this is this one, and getting the percentage of the height. This time it's different, so this time we will specify the height in this picture, which is width in our case. So if I set this to 100, you will see that the width of the hexagon, or in our case it's actually the height, will be 115. So it will be scaled to like 115%. So the only missing piece is how we will actually draw the shape, and we will use AddPolyline method from Microsoft Word. And there is an example on the Microsoft website, which is always nice because we can reuse some pieces. So it seems like that we need an array with those points, then we will set the positions of those individual points, and then we will draw the polyline using the AddPolyline method. So let's jump to Word. I will stop drawing and just jump to the developer ribbon, open the macros and create a new macro which I will call draw hexagon. For example, I will create this new macro, and let's start by just basically copying pieces of this code from the Microsoft website. So I will just copy this for setting the or defining the points, and then I will need few more variables. The variables which I will need is hex x position as double, also hex y position as double. I also need to know the hex width as double, and I need to know hex height as double. That's probably it for the beginning. For the actual number of points, you can see that we need 5 different points. I will maybe make this a little bit smaller so we can see it together with the code like this. Okay, so I need points going from 1 to 0.5. I will keep the second index going from 1 to 2, 1 being this is the x position and 2 is the y position. What I can do is I can start defining some of those variables. So I will say that the x position for now will be some random number like 100. Same for y position, which will also be, for example, 100. And you can, type any numbers. I will just use 100 for all except for the height. The height should be calculated based on the width. So it will be width times some number, and that some number I will take from this hexagon calculator. It's 115.47 and so. And I have to divide this by 100, so it will be actually 1.15 and so on. So it will be scaled to 115%. With all those variables being defined, I can quickly or finally jump to defining those individual points. So I will say this is the first tab shape, and I will I will probably rename this array to, I don't know, points, maybe hex points or shape points is diamond points. That makes sense. It's not hexagon points, but diamond points. So diamond points, point number 1, x, is obvious. That's in the middle of the hexagon. So it's the hex x position plus the width divided by 2. And the y position, which is diamond post 1, 2, this is for the y, is simple the y position of the hexagon. The second point, I will just copy this so I don't need to retype it for all the lines. The second point, x, is the point, it's the width, so I will not divide width by anything. And the y position is 1/4 of the height. I'm not dealing with the L anymore, I'm just dealing with the height. So it's y position plus the height of the hexagon, and it's 1/4. So I can say times 3 divided by 4, or I can simply say times 0.75. It's very same. So let's jump to the third point. So I will set this to third point. The third point is in the middle, so the x position is same as the first point. It's hex x position plus hex width divided by 2, and the y position is also hex y position plus hex height divided by 2. That was easy. Let's jump to the fourth point. So now point number 4, the x position is just the position of the hexagons. I will not add anything to this one. And the y position is again 1/4 of the height. So I can use the same from here. It's plus height times 0.75. I still need to specify the last point, which is point number 5. I will actually not type any value. I will just reuse the values from the first point. So first point x and first point y. I have all those points defined, so I can say ActiveDocument.Shapes.AddPolyline, and I will set I want to use diamond points .select. So I will try to run this macro, and I'm getting a little bit different shape than I'm expecting. And I can see why. I was wrong all the time. 1/4 of the height is of course not 0.75, it's 0.25. 0.75 is actually 3/4 of the height. So sorry for confusing you. I will run this one more time with those fixed values, and now I'm getting a nice looking diamond shape. I can probably change the y position to something smaller, maybe like 20 or so, so it's not going over our drawing. Sorry, the x position, not the y position. The Y position could stay at 100 and X position will be 20. It will be on the left side of our drawing. So this is the first shape, and we can quickly move to the second shape. I will probably select everything, including the drawing, and I will just change some of those lines which are different. So second right shape. So for the second right shape, we'll define the points in a very similar way. I can quickly try to draw it. So I will start with actually erasing those numbers so they are not getting in our way, like this. Then we can specify the individual points. Okay, so select green color. We can start with any point we like, but I will probably start with this one as being the first point. This will be the second point, third, and this will be the last point, point number 4. Also, point number 1 is also point number 5. It doesn't matter if we go clockwise or counterclockwise direction for this one or for any shape. So again, I will stop inking, make this smaller so I can see everything together with the code like this, and I can start changing the code. So the first point is on the right. This means that I will just add the width. The Y position is plus 0.25. The second point is X position is same, so I will not do anything, and the Y position is, sorry, this should be height times 0.75, it's 3/4. Third is X position is in the middle, so third is X position in the middle. That's the same, and Y position is all the way down, so I will not divide the height by anything. And last point is point number 4 is in the middle, so X position plus width divided by 2. I only need one plus sign, and the Y position is hex height divided by 2 as well. Last point is same as first point, so if I run the macro again, I'm getting 2 diamond shapes which are almost forming a hexagon. So the only missing piece is this last left shape. So I will copy everything, including the drawing, rename this to third left shape, and again I will just erase those numbers so I'm not getting in the way, like this. Then I can specify what point I will start with. I can start in the middle or can start with this one. So this will be first point, this will be the second point, third point, last point, and this is also the point number 5, like this. I'll stop inking, make this smaller, and this last change should be very quick. So the first point is just an X position, Y position is 1/4 of the height. That's the same. Second point is in the middle, so X width divided by 2. Same for the Y position, it's X height divided by 2. That's the middle point. The third point is X in the middle. That's the same. And the bottom Y means that hex Y position plus hex height. The fourth point is X, just the X position of the hexagon. And the Y position is 3/4. So times 0.75. That should be it for the last shape. So as you can see, we are getting a nice looking hexagon made from 3 separate pieces. So this will be a good start for the next tutorial, where we will actually color those pieces with gradients, maybe add a color here and there, and create this nice looking pattern inside Microsoft Word. As you can see here, you'll notice there are some white lines. That's not a problem with the pattern itself, but the way that the Word is trying to render everything. Sometimes it's just trying to stick to pixels, which means that it's adding some extra padding around. But in this view, everything looks great. And I can, since I'm using theme colors, I can still change the theme colors to something different for different result, like this blue glowing cubes. So stay tuned for the next tutorials, and thanks for watching.